Malcolm Butler benched in the Super Bowl, one of the most confusing coaching decisions in NFL history. It's February 4th, 2018, Super Bowl 52. The New England Patriots are facing the Philadelphia Eagles, and cornerback Malcolm Butler, he's a hero. Just 3 years earlier, Butler made the most famous interception in Super Bowl history, the goal line pick that sealed the Patriots' win over Seattle. He'd been a starter all year, played nearly every snap, and then he didn't play a single defensive down in the Super Bowl. No warning, no injury, no real explanation. When the Patriots' defense took the field, Butler was standing on the sideline, helmet on, tears in his eyes. A second stringer named Eric Rowe started instead, and the Eagles torched New England's defense for 41 points. Reporters asked Belichick after the game, why didn't Butler play? He just said, we put the players and game plan out there that we thought would be the best, like we always do. Rumors exploded. Was Butler late to a team meeting? Had something happened in the days leading up to the game? Nobody really knows. Thurman Thomas lost his helmet before the Super Bowl. It sounds like a bad sitcom scene, but it actually happened in the freaking Super Bowl. January 26th, 1992, Super Bowl 26. The Buffalo Bills were back for their second straight shot at a title, and their best player, league MVP Thurman Thomas. He was the heart of their offense, a dual-threat running back who could run, catch, block, do it all. But when it came time for the opening snap, Thurman Thomas was nowhere to be found. Why? Because his helmet was missing. Someone had moved it during the pregame chaos, possibly during the national anthem setup. When the Bills took the field for their first play, their MVP was standing on the sideline, helpless. Buffalo had to run their scripted opening plays without the guy they designed the entire plan around. And that's not just a minor detail. Momentum matters in the Super Bowl, and Washington took full advantage. Thomas eventually found his helmet and got in the game, but the damage was done. He finished the game with just 13 rushing yards on 10 carries, one of the worst performances of his career. The Bills would go on to lose, again. And this bizarre helmet debacle became part of the team's Super Bowl curse lore. Even today, fans still debate, how does one of the best players in the NFL lose his helmet in the biggest game of the year? Golden Tate allegedly slept with Russell Wilson's wife. This one's always hovered in rumor territory, but it's never fully gone away. In 2014, Russell Wilson suddenly filed for divorce from his college sweetheart, Ashton Meme, right in the middle of his rise with the Seahawks. No warning, no scandal, at least not at first. But then the rumors exploded. Some fans began to whisper that Golden Tate, Wilson's teammate at the time, had something to do with it. Specifically, that he allegedly slept with Wilson's wife, causing a total breakdown in their relationship. It didn't help that shortly after, Tate left Seattle, or that Percy Harvin supposedly punched him before the Super Bowl. Golden Tate publicly denied everything, saying, in fact, my wife now and Ashton were best friends and still are really good friends. In fact, Ashton came to our wedding. Every time I saw Russell, I'd be so angry. Like, how would you let this happen? But even now, a decade later, it's still one of the most talked about NFL gossip mysteries of the 2010s. By the way, I'm going to be posting a lot here, so it would mean a lot if you subscribed and dropped a like for the algorithm. What was really said in the Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph fight? This wasn't just a scuffle. It was one of the ugliest on-field moments in NFL history. November 14th, 2019, Thursday Night Football. Browns versus Steelers. With just seconds left in the game, Browns defensive end Myles Garrett took down Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph. What happened next? Didn't even look real. Garrett ripped Rudolph's helmet off, then swung it at his head, connecting in a horrifying, dangerous moment that stunned everyone. Garrett was suspended indefinitely. The league called it one of the worst incidents ever. But then, the story got even murkier. A few days later, Garrett claimed that Rudolph had called him a racial slur, sparking the violent reaction. The NFL said it found no evidence of that after reviewing audio. Rudolph denied it. Garrett stood by it. No one else on the field confirmed hearing anything. And just like that, the truth was lost. Did Rudolph say something horrible that pushed Garrett over the edge? Or did Garrett just lose control and later try to justify it? To this day, no one knows for sure. The Saints Catholic Church cover-up. This scandal goes far beyond football. Back in 2020, leaked emails already showed Saints executives offering PR assistance to the Archdiocese of New Orleans amid a clergy abuse crisis. The team claimed they merely provided media support, not helping hide names, but critics cried foul. Fast forward to early February 2025, and more bombshell emails emerged. Hundreds of private team communications were released to the press, including messages from Saints president Dennis Lauscha and communications chief Greg Bensel. These emails reveal drafting questions the archbishop should answer, helping remove certain clergy from the abuse list, advising storytelling language to soften coverage. Later in May 2025, the archdiocese agreed to a $179 million settlement, but questions persist. How much did the team influence who made or got removed from the list? The NFL even stepped in. Commissioner Goodell said the league won't investigate, framing it as a matter for law enforcement. One survivor said the emails show a genuine lack of concern for victims and suspect the Saints wielded their influence to protect clergy, not survivors. Emails also revealed that key political figures, like Judge Jay Zaney, were looped into this damage control network, suggesting deeper links between church, team, and civic leadership. But here's the thing. The NFL hasn't suspended a single Saints executive. No fines, no sanctions, just a quiet statement and a big payout, but no real accountability. So what's left unresolved? Did Saints leaders actively influence which priests were included or excluded on that list? How deep was the coordination behind the scenes? Why did the NFL, with decades of dealing with abuse scandals, refuse to act? This isn't just a PR mess. It's a question of morality and the potential for a sports team to use its power to shield abusers. The Dan Snyder front office scandal. This one was so chaotic, it's hard to tell where the mystery ends and the cover-up begins. For over 2 decades, Dan Snyder, owner of the Washington Commanders, ran one of the most dysfunctional front offices in NFL history. There were toxic workplace allegations, financial impropriety, and even accusations of secret surveillance. But one of the biggest mysteries, why did it take so long for the NFL to do anything? Let's start with what we know. Dozens of former cheerleaders and employees accused Snyder's organization of harassment and exploitation. There were claims of inappropriate videos being secretly filmed. Reports emerged that Snyder was allegedly involved in hush money payments. Congress got involved. There were hearings, subpoenas. The NFL even conducted an internal investigation, led by attorney Beth Wilkinson. But here's the catch. The league never released the full report. All we got was a summary, verbally delivered by Commissioner Roger Goodell. No transparency, no accountability, no paper trail. And despite the mountain of evidence, Snyder wasn't immediately removed. Eventually, after years of pressure, Snyder sold the team for over $6 billion. No punishment, no suspension. So the question remains, what did that report really say? Why did the NFL work so hard to keep it buried? And how many people knew what was really going on inside that building? Julio Jones's $100,000 diamond earring, lost forever? In July 2017, Falcons wide receiver Julio Jones, one of the NFL's best players at the time, was enjoying a summer day jet skiing on Lake Lanier in Georgia. Normal stuff. Until suddenly, in the middle of the ride, his $100,000 diamond earring flew off his ear and vanished beneath the water. Jones didn't panic. He hired a dive team. Scuba divers were sent down to search the lake bed for this one single earring, buried somewhere in 65 feet of murky water. They searched for hours, never found it. When reporters asked Julio if he was mad, he shrugged it off like a true wide receiver. It was insured. I was fine. And just like that, a 6-figure piece of jewelry was lost forever. Somewhere at the bottom of a lake that already has a haunted reputation. And to this day, the earring has never been recovered. What really happened between Josh McDaniels and the Colts? This one still doesn't sit right. In 2018, the Indianapolis Colts were in full rebuild mode. They needed a new head coach, someone to bring stability and revive Andrew Luck's career. So they hired Josh McDaniels, the longtime Patriots offensive coordinator. The deal was done. The Colts announced it. And then, just hours before his introductory press conference, Josh McDaniels backed out. No warning, no reason. He simply changed his mind. People were stunned. Was it personal? Was it cold feet? Had Bill Belichick promised him the Patriots job after retirement? Reports swirled. Some said his family wanted to stay in New England. To make things weirder, McDaniels never explained himself. He just ghosted and went back to work in Foxborough like nothing happened. The Colts, blindsided, scrambled, and eventually hired Frank Reich, who did a solid job. But that moment, still one of the strangest turnarounds in NFL coaching history. Peyton Manning's wife allegedly ordering HGH. This one came out of nowhere and then quietly disappeared. In 2015, an Al Jazeera undercover investigation rocked the sports world. The documentary The Dark Side alleged that several high-profile athletes had received shipments of performance-enhancing drugs. One of the names? Peyton Manning. The report claimed that human growth hormone was shipped to Manning's house under his wife Ashley's name during the 2011 offseason, when he was recovering from neck surgery and missed the entire season. The implication was obvious, that Peyton had used Ashley's name as a cover to avoid detection, but Manning vehemently denied the accusations, saying he was furious and disgusted by the report. But the details were still murky. Why were shipments of HGH going to his house at all? Why under Ashley's name? The NFL investigated and cleared Manning. No discipline, no charges. But many fans still wonder, was there more to this story? It faded quickly from headlines, but for some, it left a permanent question mark on one of the NFL's most respected legacies. George Coinis disappears from the Browns. This one was weird even by Cleveland Browns standards. In 2009, George Coinis was hired as the general manager of the Cleveland Browns. A respected front office executive from the Ravens, Coinis was brought in to help rebuild the franchise alongside head coach Eric Mangini. But just 9 months later, Coinis was mysteriously gone. No press conference, no formal announcement. Reports said Coinis was escorted out of the team facility by security. Some claimed he was fired. Others said he resigned. The team initially said nothing. Even stranger, the Browns later claimed that Coinis had never officially signed his GM contract. That gave the team legal cover to avoid paying the remainder of his salary. Behind the scenes, rumors swirled that Coinis and Mangini clashed over power, that ownership had second thoughts about the hiring, that Coinis allegedly pooped on the desk of Randy Lerner, the majority owner of the Browns. But nobody ever went on the record. To this day, there's never been a clear public explanation about what happened, or why it happened so fast. The picked up flag, Lions vs. Cowboys, 2015. It was the most infamous flag that never counted. The 2014 NFC wildcard matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys was already intense. With under 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Lions were up 20-17 and driving. On a crucial 3rd and 1, Matthew Stafford threw a pass to tight end Brandon Pettigrew, and Cowboys linebacker Anthony Hitchens was clearly flagged for pass interference. The referee threw the flag. The stadium announcer even confirmed the call on the PA system. Then, in an almost surreal twist, the refs picked it up. No explanation, no penalty, just play on. The Lions were stunned. The Cowboys took over, marched downfield, and scored the go-ahead touchdown. Dallas would go on to win 24-20. Detroit fans were livid. NFL insiders were baffled. Even former officials couldn't explain why the flag was picked up, especially when every camera angle showed it was an obvious penalty. To this day, the picked-up flag remains one of the most controversial no calls in playoff history. Some Lions fans believe it was a fix, others think it was incompetence, and the NFL never really explained it. Where did Barrett Robbins go before the Super Bowl? One of the most bizarre mysteries in NFL history happened the night before the biggest game of the year, Super Bowl 37. The Oakland Raiders were about to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but just 24 hours before kickoff, their starting center, Barrett Robbins, disappeared. No one could find him, not the coaches, not his teammates, not the hotel staff. Robbins vanished without warning. It wasn't until the day of the Super Bowl that he was located, in a manic, delusional state in Tijuana, Mexico. He reportedly believed the Raiders had already won, and was allegedly celebrating a fantasy victory. He was immediately ruled out of the game. What came next was devastating. Without their Pro Bowl center, the Raiders' offensive line collapsed. Quarterback Rich Gannon was sacked 5 times and threw 5 interceptions as the Bucs cruised to a 48-21 win. Afterward, it was revealed that Robbins had long suffered from bipolar disorder and had stopped taking his medication in the days leading up to the game. The pressure, the moment, the mental instability, it all collided. Robbins would later admit he had no memory of the episode. He never played another game for the Raiders. The mystery still lingers, not just about the game, but about the mental health battles hidden behind the helmet. Jackie Wallace's disappearance with addiction. Jackie Wallace had everything. A college football star at Arizona, he was drafted in 1973 and went on to play cornerback in the NFL for the Vikings, Colts, and Rams. He even appeared in 2 Super Bowls. But after retiring in the early 1980s, his life took a dark turn. Wallace struggled with addiction, cycling through drugs, homelessness, and arrests. For years, he bounced in and out of shelters and recovery centers until one photo changed everything. In 1990, a journalist named Ted Jackson snapped a picture of Wallace sleeping under a highway overpass. That photo became the start of a friendship and a mission. Jackson helped Wallace get sober, reconnect with family, and even regain purpose. For decades, it looked like a redemption story, until 2017, when Jackie Wallace disappeared again. He left his home in New Orleans, and for 6 weeks, no one knew where he was. He had relapsed and vanished into the streets. His family and the media feared the worst. Eventually, he was found alive, but still battling the same demons. He's still out there, still struggling, still surviving. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here, so it would mean a lot if you subscribed. Thanks for watching.